Hello students, let's start section 57 Taylor series. Today you must have studied sequences and series of complex numbers in the previous section. Now we will start another new section which is Taylor series, that gives the expression of a function in the form of a series when it satisfies certain conditions. So what are those certain conditions and what is the series representation, that we will see through this theorem, through the following theorem. Suppose that a function f is analytic throughout a disk mod z minus z naught less than r0, centered at z0 and with radius r0. Then fz has the power series representation. Fz is equal to sigma an z minus z naught power n varies from 0 to infinity, where z is such that mod z minus z0 is less than r0, where ans are complex coefficients which are given by the formula an is equal to fn z0 upon factorial n, and n varies from 0, 0, 1, 2 and so on. So what does this theorem say? It says that we have to understand first of all the statement, then we will see the proof of this theorem. So this theorem says that if a function is analytic throughout a disk, we are given a disk which is centered at z0 and which has radius r0, and we are given a function f which is analytic throughout this open disk, then fz has a power series representation in which the terms appear in powers of z minus z naught, where z naught is the center of the disk. You should remember that. We have chosen all the z such that mod z minus z0 is less than r0. That means this series representation is valid for all z which satisfy this condition, mod z minus z0 less than r0. That means for all z which lie in the disk mod z minus z0 less than r0. So inside the disk fz has this series representation, and we can see that the powers are from 0 to z minus z0 power 0 to z minus z0 to power n, where n is tending towards infinity. If we open this expression keeping the values of n, then we get fz is equal to a0 plus a1 z minus z0 plus a2 z minus z0 square and so on. And the coefficients are nothing but nth derivative. An coefficient is the nth derivative of f at the center of the disk z0 divided by factorial n. N is equal to 0 to 0, 1, 2 and so on. That is, the series 1 converges to fz when z lies in the stated open disk. We can see pictorial representation of this theorem like this. This is dotted, means boundary is deleted, open disk, z0 is the center, r0 is the radius, and z is inside a point inside a number, complex number inside the disk. And for this z we can write fz as a series which is called Taylor series. So series 1 can be written like this. If we substitute the values of the coefficients ans in the series, then we get fz is equal to fz0 plus f dash z0 upon factorial 1 into z minus z0 plus f double dash z0 upon factorial 2 into z minus z0 square plus dot dot dot. So this is the theorem. So now you understand what is the theorem. Again we can read the statement that the function is analytic throughout the disk mod z minus z0 less than r0, centered at z0 with radius r0, then fz has the power series representation. Fz is equal to sigma an z minus z0 power n 0 to infinity, and an is equal to fn z0 upon factorial n. We will prove this theorem. So first of all, we will prove the theorem for z0 is equal to 0. That means we are assuming f to be analytic throughout the disk, mod z less than r0 as depicted in the picture by dotted boundary. Now we take a point z inside this mod z less than r0 disk. So let the distance of z from the origin be represented by small r. So we choose a number between small r and r0. Say small r0. We have chosen a small r0 that is greater than small r and that is smaller than capital R0, and taking that radius small r0 as radius, we draw a circle. So that circle is represented by C0 as shown in the figure in counterclockwise direction. So we can see that inside this C0 and on the boundary of this C0, the function is analytic. The function f is analytic inside the disk having radius capital R0 and center origin, and we have taken a circle inside this disk. So the function f would be analytic on the boundary of C0 and in the interior of C0. So we can apply Cauchy integral formula. Z lies inside this C0. So fz can be written as, what was the formula? Fz is equal to 1 by 2 pi I integral fs ds upon s minus z. So we have written like this. Integration is along C0. Now what we do, we factorize this term expression 1 by s minus z in this form. 1 by s minus z is equal to 1 by s into 1 minus z by s. And from the example we did in the last section, we can write 1 by 1 minus z as sigma z to the power n, where n is equal to 0 to capital N minus 1 plus z power capital N upon 1 minus z, where z is any complex number other than unity. So we will replace this z by s in expression 3, and we can write the equation 2 as 1 upon s minus z is equal to, we get this expression. So you can try this on your own. I am not going into the details. Now we multiply this equation by fs and integrate each side with respect to s around C0. We get multiplying and integrating along C0, we get integral C0 fs ds upon s minus z is equal to sigma n equal to 0 to capital N minus 1 integration fs ds z power n upon s power n plus 1 along C0. This is a constant. Z power n is treated like a constant because the integration is with respect to s. We can keep it outside the integral sign, plus z power n integration fs ds upon s minus z s power capital N. So in view of expression 1 and the fact that 1 by 2 pi I integral fs ds upon s to the power n plus 1 along C0 is equal to fn 0 upon factorial n. We can solve it out. work this out. This equation reduces this form. Fz is equal to sigma fn 0 upon factorial n z power n upon sigma is from n equal to 0 to capital N minus 1 plus rho n z, where rho n z is equal to z power capital N upon 2 pi I integral fs ds upon s minus z s power capital N along C0. So if we are able to show that the limit of this rho n z is 0 as capital N tends to infinity, then we are done. So to accomplish this, we recall that mod z is equal to small r and that C0 has radius r0 where r0 is greater than small r. Then if S is a point on C0, then we can see mod S minus Z greater than or equal to mod of mod S minus mod Z is equal to R0 minus R. If capital M is the maximum value of mod of S on C0, then mod of rho n Z, what was rho n Z? This was an integral, so we can apply the ML formula. So mod of rho n Z, it will be less than or equal to z power n mod of z power n, which is less than or equal to r to the power n upon 2 pi into m upon r0 minus r0 power n into 2 pi r0, which is the length of the circle C0. So this comes out to be capital M r0 upon r0 minus r into r upon r0 power capital N. R by r0 is less than 1. When r by r0 is less than 1, limit 7 clearly holds. That means limit of rho n z is going to be 0 as capital N tends to infinity. And we know already that this r0 is bigger than r, so it is less than 1 in any case. So it is going to be smaller and smaller as n tends to infinity, so the limit of rho n z is going to be 0. To verify the theorem, when the disk of, now we are done with the case when f is analytic inside mod z less than capital R0. Now we will verify this theorem when the disk of radius R0 is centered at an arbitrary point z0. We suppose that f is analytic when mod z minus z0 is less than capital R0, and we note that the composite function f z plus z0 must be analytic when mod of z plus z0 minus z0 is less than capital R0. So we write gz as f of z plus z0. If we write gz as f of z plus z0, the analyticity of g in the disk mod z less than r0 ensures the existence of a Maclaurin series representation gz is equal to sigma gn0 upon factorial n z power n equal to 0 to infinity, where mod z is less than r0. Actually, we have proven the case for mod z less than capital R0. If we write gz as f of z plus z0, mod z less than R0 is equivalent to mod of z plus z0 minus z0 less than R0. And f of z plus z0 is analytic in mod z plus z0 minus z0 less than R0. So analyticity of G in the disk mod z less than R0 ensures the existence of this representation. Gz is equal to sigma gn0 upon factorial n z power n, where mod z is less than R0. Now substituting the value of G in terms of f, we get f of z plus z0 is equal to sigma fn z naught upon factorial n z power n and 0 to infinity. This is a simple calculation that gn0 is same as f and z0. After replacing z by z minus z0 in this equation and in the condition of its validity, we get fz. What we are doing, we are replacing z by z minus z0. So we get fz is equal to sigma an z minus z0 power n, where mod z minus z0 is less than capital R0, where an is equal to fn z0 upon factorial n and varies from 0, 1, 2 and so on. So this was the proof of the Taylor's theorem. Now you can repeat it yourself. Not very difficult to follow. And here are some remarks. So first remark is, any function which is analytic at a point z0 must have a Taylor series about z0. So this is true because if a function is given to be analytic at a point, it means there exists a neighborhood throughout which the function is analytic. If f is analytic at z0, it is analytic throughout some neighborhood mod z minus z0 less than epsilon of that point. So epsilon serves as the radius r0 and we can apply the theorem according to which we can have the Taylor's series. So a function which is analytic at a point, single point, must have a Taylor series about z0. About z0 means we will get some neighborhood about z0 in which f has Taylor series representation. Now the second remark is, if f is entire, that means analytic everywhere, then capital R0 can be chosen arbitrarily large because there is no limit on the radius. So we can take R0 any large number and the condition of validity will become mod z minus z0 less than infinity. So the function f has series representation everywhere in the complex plane. The series theorem converges to fz at each point z in the finite plane. Now the third remark is, when it is known that f is analytic everywhere inside a circle centered at z0, convergence of its Taylor series about z0 to fz for each point z within that circle is ensured. Even no test for the convergence is required. And the fourth one is, according to Taylor's theorem, the series converges to fz within the circle about z0, whose radius is the distance from z0 to the nearest point z1 at which f fails to be analytic. We can understand this point by some example, like if we take fz is equal to 1 by z minus 1, z minus 2. So we can see that it fails to be analytic at the points 1 and 2. But 1 is the nearest point. If we want to have the representation in terms of z, then we take the center of the disk as origin. So we take the center at origin, but whatever be the what will be the distance? What will be the radius of the disk? It should be 1 because the function fails to be analytic at 1. It fails to be analytic at 2 also, but we have to take the nearest point at which it fails to be analytic. So it will converge to a series series, its Taylor series will converge to this function when in the disk mod z minus 0 less than 1. So some examples are also there. Since the function fz is equal to e to the power z is entire, it has a Maclaurin series representation which is valid for all z. Here fnz is equal to e to the power z and is equal to 0, 1, 2. And because fn0 is equal to 1, it follows that e to the power z is equal to sigma z to the power n upon factorial n mod z less than infinity. So here are some other examples also. We can do them in the next video. This is all for today's lecture. Thank you. Stay happy, stay safe, and do study.